Mary, I says, how would he know this? If you're issuing a search warrant for in the morning, nobody should know about it, because if he knows about it, if he would have something to do with these people, they've got time to get rid of whatever they need to, because they've got all night long. So the sheriffs show up down there, all of them show up. The news reporters are there. They're filming them driving in. I said, if they found this out, you think the people there couldn't have found it out?
Call from mom. Answer it. Call silenced.
Instacart knows nothing gets between you and the game. That's why they make ordering from your couch easy. Stock up today and get all your groceries for the week delivered in as fast as 30 minutes without missing a minute of the game.
You have 47 new voicemails.
Download the app to get free delivery on your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply.
On a night cold enough to freeze your bones, a prospector searching for a legendary cursed gold mine vanishes without a trace. I'm Crew Williams, the host of Dead Man's Curse. This season, we retrace the steps of fortune seekers looking for a mother lode worth billions who never came back. So come join our quest. Search for and follow Dead Man's Curse Volcanic Gold on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Though Dave expressed some frustration over the handling of the search warrant, it didn't actually matter all that much to him in the grand scheme of things, because Dave never believed Tommy Lopez was the killer. His doubt started almost immediately when he heard about the witness's testimony.
Her boyfriend had been in some trouble.
And when they first issued the warrants, Buddy called me that afternoon.
Sergeant Buddy Moore with the Brown County Sheriff's Office was the lead investigator at the time.
And I said, Buddy, I've got a couple questions for you. And he says, all right, what's your questions? I said, A, what's she in jail for? And if you can't tell me, that's fine. I said, my second question is this. What's she asking for? He says, what do you mean? I said, when you've got an inmate that's in jail and they're willing to volunteer information, A, they either want charges dropped against them, or B, they want a plea bargain somewhere to get out early, something. There's always cards on the table that they're asking. I said, so all you're doing right now is wasting time. If she's not asking for nothing,
She don't know nothing.
and she don't know nothing. And I said, everything that you've told me she's give you, go back to the newspaper 2 weeks prior to that.
That's
It's
good.
all in it.
Dave and Mary say that nearly every detail in the witness's account was information that the media had publicized, comments that either they made or authorities made over the first couple of years of the investigation. So they dismissed the idea that Tommy Lopez could have been involved in Brittany's murder. Authorities, on the other hand, were not seeing it that way. They still felt they had their guy, and they planned to build their case around him. But with all their intel now made public, courtesy of the affidavits obtained by the local media, it was going to be an uphill battle. When then Chief Deputy Carl Smith with the Brown County Sheriff's Office spoke with WLWT, he expressed some frustration, saying, quote, "This is not in any way, shape, or form how we wanted to have this information released." In other words, they wanted all this information to remain confidential. They knew the release of it would in no way help their case against Tommy Lopez. All the authorities could do now was press on and hope their case wasn't too compromised as a result. Chief Deputy Carl Smith said the goal was to present it to a grand jury. He said there was more work to do, but expressed confidence in the direction they were headed, even saying, quote, "We should be able to get an indictment." And to his point, things continued moving in that direction. WLWT reported that on November 13th, 2015, a fact-finding grand jury convened in the prosecutor's office. They called witnesses, but it was reported that the witnesses either did not return phone calls or were uncooperative. There were allegedly 3 people who were summoned, and 2 of the 3 showed. The only one we know of is a woman by the name of Samantha Grubbs, who shared a child with Shane Sykes. before he and Brittany married. After her testimony, Grubbs spoke with the media, where she made mixed comments about Brittany. She told a reporter with Local 12 News that Brittany was a loving person, and said she couldn't ask for a better stepmother for her son. But she made some questionable comments too, ones which Dave and Mary had to hear, that implied their daughter Brittany might have been involved with the wrong group of people.
If you go back and you pull Brittany's life up, you'll find out if she was not involved.
She was
She was here.
We're not
That's it.
exaggerating. That's how it went. When I got interviewed after all of that, I said, well, the only crowd Brittany got with was Shane and his mother. That was the only thing new in Brittany's life, and everybody knows that.
Now, I will say, Shane's ex being summoned in this case is rather interesting. Again, to the best of our knowledge, the grand jury was to deliberate over Tommy Lopez's involvement, not Shane Steich's. So I'm not really sure why she would have been called to testify. Shane didn't seem to know anything about the grand jury proceedings. We've been unable to reach Samantha directly, and all documents related to the grand jury are sealed. Unfortunately, all we know is what was reported back in 2015. But it's our understanding that shortly after this, the grand jury landed on a no bill, meaning no indictment for Tommy Lopez, who was released on his drug charges from Kentucky the day after Christmas of 2015. But to be clear, Lopez has never been charged for any of the murders his supposed girlfriend accused him of. A month later, in January of 2016, the News Democrat reported on the abrupt ending of the grand jury. Assistant prosecutor Zach Corbin was able to provide some context, stating that Lopez had not yet been cleared as a person of interest, but a grand jury does them no good if they can't prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Corbin said, quote, "We are actively investigating every single day to bring someone to justice in this case. There is no case at this point that I would love to see solved more than this one, and we work hard every day to do that. I hope 2016 will bring us an indictment and a conviction, but I can't say or put a timeline on it." Well, you can assume 2016 did not bring an indictment or a conviction. And now, many years later, still no indictment. If you remember, Shane said back at the beginning of all this, the Brown County Sheriff's Office expressed confidence as to where things were headed. So it's safe to say he's not happy with how things have played out.
They said, we got 9 months. We're going to build this case. We're going to wrap it up solid. We're going to hammer it. I'm like, okay, let's do this. Like 5 or 6 days later, I see that this dude's released from jail. I never even got a phone call. So there was a hitman who was hired initially to come at me, and he's out of jail, and you don't think that I need to know this? You know, I got kids. I mean, you don't think I need to know, you know? So I call up there. I'm so fuming, pissed off.
He didn't give us the name of the person he spoke with, only referring to him as this dude. But he said he specifically asked to speak with him.
You know, I'm like, I'd like to know how you think I don't deserve to know. And he said, Mr. Steichs, we don't have to tell you shit. And hung up on me. And I was about to have a meltdown. Because I'm still thinking this is the dude who killed my family. Now he's free. And the cops just hung up on me and told me they don't have to tell me shit. I couldn't even grasp what was happening. You know what I'm saying? It didn't make any sense to me.
To this day, Shane doesn't really know what